Shabbat Shalom, L'chaim, L'chaim. This week's Torah portion is Ki Tisa, and it talks about a whole bunch of different themes. It has the building of the golden calf, the breaking of the Ten Commandments, and Moshe going up and down the mountain to speak to HaShem. But Rabbi Moshe Weinberger wants to speak about one specific theme, and he does it through a story. His story is of a rabbi named Rabbi Yitzchak Braude, who lived in Poland and died during the Holocaust. And Rabbi Yitzchak used to go every day to his shul, his synagogue, and he would pray the Mincha and Ma'ariv services, the afternoon and evening prayers. And every day in between the two, he would give over a short lesson. He was a big-time Breslover, so he'd talk about those ideas of having faith and trust in God, to have faith in the leaders of the generation, the tzaddikim, and every day was the same thing. And there's one man that was sitting every day in the shul, and he'd listen to this lesson, and he'd think to himself, it's nice that the rabbi gives this lesson every day, but it's easy for him to say, he's got a shoe shop. He's making money, no problem. He doesn't really have any worries. Let's see what would happen if, God forbid, something were to happen to that. What kind of lesson would he give then? And unfortunately, what happened was a fire broke out in the village some days later, and the rabbi's shoe shop was burned down. Now, everyone in the village knew about it, but this man was particularly intrigued. How is the rabbi going to be now? What kind of lesson will he give? How will he be affected by this? So he shows up to shul the next day, and after mincha, the rabbi goes up to give his lesson. And he goes up, and he gives the exact same lesson. To have faith and trust in God, to have faith in the leaders of the generation, all those good things. And he seems completely unfazed. So after they finish praying, this man goes up to the rabbi, says, Rabbi, I have to apologize. I feel bad for you that your shop was burned down. But a part of me was honestly intrigued to see how it would affect you, and I see that you're completely unfazed. So I have to ask you, how is it possible? How do you do it? And the rabbi says, it's a great question that you're asking. And it's actually spoken about in the Talmud. You see, our sages talk about the laws of praying. How certain times you need to stand up, like Shmona Esrei, and certain times you have to sit down. But what do you do if a person's leaning on something? Are they considered standing or sitting? And so the sages debate back and forth. And they come to the conclusion that if you were to kick away what he's leaning on, and the man were to fall down, then he's considered sitting. But if you kick it away and he's still standing, then he was never really leaning on it, and he's still considered standing up. And so that's what this shop was to me. All the money that I brought in, all that it was to me, was not something that was really my support in life. My only support is HaShem. And this man really took it to heart and understood what the rabbi was saying. And I think the reason this story was brought was because over the past few parshas, we've spoken about the garments of the Kohanim, the fine linen clothing. We talked about the vessels in the temple, all the gold, silver, and copper. And even a little bit at the beginning of this week's portion, we talk about the same things, about the gold and silver and the coins that everyone donated, all those things of wealth. So I think what Rabbi Moshe Weinberger was trying to say is really a teaching that we have, that it says you should serve HaShem when you're poor, because then you'll serve Him when you're rich. And in reality, sometimes it's even harder to serve when you do have everything, when you feel like you have no lacking in life. In reality, when those things are kicked away and you put your weight on it, then you're going to fall with it. But if you put your support and your trust and your faith in HaShem, then when those things are kicked away, you'll still remain standing. So please God, we should all merit to remain standing in the face of whatever difficulties should come our way. Shabbat Shalom.